Hello there, and welcome to the Average Pundits podcast, episode 19. And today we've got a very, very interesting topic about financial fair play and the current debacle surrounding Manchester City and their ban of the Champions League. But first off, introductions. I am Reese. As always, I am joined by my Average Pundit partner, Joseph Brody.
Hiya, mate.
So, it's been an interesting week of football.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to talk about.
Yeah, indeed. Various games, a lot of controversies in them games. I'm sure that we'll get to those in a second. So, speaking of those games, how about we break down the Premier League fixtures of this week?
Yeah, sounds good to me. Obviously, we are still on the match day 26 of 38. It was broken apart due to all of the kind of the breaks and everything. So, if I wasn't mistaken before, we were predicting Everton, Brighton, Sheffield, those three games, and also the Man City West Ham game, which got postponed and is still yet to be played. So we are going from the Friday's game, I believe, Reece?
Wolves and Leicester, right?
Yeah, Wolves-Leicester, 0-0.
Indeed.
I was expecting more from that, I won't lie to you.
I mean, I think as we go on, we will go through our predictions of said games. You hit that nail on the head.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be more of a doozy of a game, but I thought there was going to be some kind of cancelling out.
Yes.
I
got a point for that.
Yeah, I mean, Hamza Chowdhury's 76th minute red card was the talking point of the game.
Absolutely.
But I mean, apart from that, really, there's not even too much to talk about in that.
I mean, when you get nil draws, there aren't really many things you can talk about. So, where it's played, I mean, you can talk about the stats and the good players of the defenders that were on. I mean, Soyuncu had a great game.
Yeah.
But Leicester dominated possession, if I'm not mistaken.
They did. I mean, I think it was frustrating for both teams. I think both teams were looking to tip each other over the edge. But Wolves and Leicester are the two new wave teams that we keep on bringing up. So I think it was a tough one, but I think they just cancelled each other out in the end.
Adama Traore has just got back to fitness.
He has.
And he came on in the 64th minute.
Yeah.
So that added a bit more for Wolves to hang on to, but.
It's good his injury wasn't too serious for him.
Yes. I shall actually note, I did, after the last podcast, find out the scores on the doors for our predictions contest as we have gone through. So, week 19, I believe it is currently, Joe in the lead by 2 is 54 to Joe to 52.
That's not bad. It's not as close. It's hotting up.
So, with that, you jump 2 points ahead. 2 more points.
Yeah.
And I jump up 1. Next game.
Burnley, it was a Burnley-Southampton, wasn't it? The 2-1 Burnley win.
2-1 Burnley win.
Away from home as well.
It is that was a strange one. I mean, Danny Ings also getting on the score sheet, which I thought would happen. However, Burnley scoring 2 more, which I did not actually account for. I didn't think Burnley had it in them, if I'm honest.
Yeah. I think Burnley, I mean, again, Southampton went there, was stayed at home and dominated on the possession, but Burnley, they were just more clinical. I mean, the second minute, wasn't it? They were up a goal by. It was Westwood, and then Vydra in the 60th as well. He's such a journeyman, Vydra. He's been around for so long.
He has. He's been around the Premier League, like lower end, like Premier League teams, and also in the Championship.
Massively in the Championship.
Played for Bolton, didn't he?
Yeah,
at one point.
Derby, I think he's been playing about.
He's been playing in the English territories for quite a while.
Yeah.
And also Danny Ings. I mean, he just hit 15 goals.
Yeah.
One of the top goal scorers in the league. He could catch up to Jamie Vardy at this point with him being injured. I mean, he most definitely can.
Yeah, definitely. It's in the system. Liverpool's 1-0 win against Norwich.
I mean, I didn't expect this. This was poor, honestly.
I mean, you won, but it was poor. Again, it was poor.
Sadio saving us in the 78th minute. I mean, we dominated the game. They just defended brilliant. We didn't play our best. Let's be honest.
You had 6 shots on target out of your 17. You had the possession. You dominated as we were expecting, but just terrible conversion.
It's not as even if we played a bad team. Like
no,
we played our full strength back line.
Yeah,
we played our top goalkeeper. I mean, the midfield isn't what we normally play. We played Naby Keita, but even still, Naby Keita is a great midfielder. And we played Roberto Firmino and Mo Salah up top with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah,
that's the only difference in that team that we had. But then again, as soon as we brought Fabinho on and Sadio Mane, the game switched up.
Yeah.
So I think those two players, like coming on and making that impact, shows the actual real importance. that they have to our side.
Yeah, massively. I mean, Liverpool, that they're not a team. There's world-class players in there, but there's not really any standout. It's not a single-man team. They do play as a collective. I think right now Sadio Mane has definitely been a great Premier League addition, but he is not. He's not the just a be-all and end-all of that team. I mean, Liverpool right now, they've just cracked the code, but that game was not the Premier League winners.
Yeah, no,
it didn't seem as good as normally.
I mean, they held up like Sheffield United did earlier on in the season, where it took a wrongdoing from Dean Henderson.
Yeah.
I mean, both of us predicting Liverpool win there. Maybe they didn't win to the extent that we said. Me saying 4-0, you saying 3-0.
Yeah.
But they still won nonetheless.
More of an interesting game, 3-2 Tottenham Aston Villa. Tottenham beating Aston Villa away.
I was one goal off this. If Toby Alderweireld didn't score that own goal, I'd have got this nailed on.
I watched this game and it was one of the most frustrating games of football to watch. Honestly, I was gutted for Villa. I was really gutted for Villa because this even a draw would have been something they deserve from this. I mean, Tottenham had more shots, more on target. Villa had the possession in this game, but I mean, it was obviously that early goal. I don't know if you saw the goal. It was literally in the last seconds of the game. Bjorn Engels and Toby Alderweireld had two bizarre games.
Yeah.
Obviously, Toby own goal, then Toby scores.
Yeah.
Then Engels, Engels scores a goal. And then he's having a really good game, and then in the last seconds of the game, he lets the ball slip through his legs, and then Son just pounces on it, and it's going in.
I mean, fair play to Son for putting away both his opportunities, and
Son again
giving Spurs the win. I mean, Mourinho definitely needs him to shine, especially in Harry Kane's absence. But
I tell you what, one thing which Tottenham could take from Liverpool in that is the fluidity of the front three. And in that game, there was a lot of this unnecessary hogging of the ball, where there could have been a lot more passes being played.
Yeah,
I think Tottenham could have won the game by more. I think Villa, I thought were going to have it, but Tottenham could have won the game by more if it wasn't for selfish play, in my opinion.
Yeah, actually.
But I mean, all in all, Son again showing the kind of caliber of the player he is. A rare win, Arsenal Newcastle. Didn't you predict a Newcastle win?
I did.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not knocking it, but Arsenal 4-0.
It's a
running riot.
I saw the highlights of this game, and Newcastle just didn't want it. They really didn't want it. It's hard to see this for Newcastle because they have been playing so well of lately.
Yeah.
And Arsenal have been playing sort of the opposite. Like, they are close to in the table to each other.
Yeah.
And I mean, Pepe had a great game. Let's be honest. He had 2 assists and a goal.
Yeah.
He was well worthy a man of the match. Mesut Ozil even got on the goal sheet. That's how bad the defending was.
It was such a terrible goal as well. That Ozil goal was awful. But I mean, the entire front attacking full scoring in that game for Arsenal, maybe this is the confidence boost they needed.
Honestly, I mean, all of them scoring, it makes them want to continue performing, especially for a legendary manager, or not manager, but like legendary Arsenal player, Mikel Arteta.
Yeah.
So
again, it's that Lampard, Solskjaer-esque kind of thing, and it's
respect.
Just like, there's a lot of romanticising about the signing. So maybe he might be able to get something out of them. Who knows?
Maybe. I mean, Aubameyang is still wanting to leave apparently.
Yeah, still a bit of unrest from Ozil and Ceballos as well. Xhaka's situation is still unknown. I think Arsenal have got a huge summer.
They just have to offload a lot of people. That's the thing.
But they've got to sign as well, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, if they can get a lot of money for these players, they can bring in so many good talents.
Genuinely. What about Manchester United, Chelsea? 2-0 to Manchester United. I think that's a game which you also predicted Chelsea win on.
Yeah, about that. You've got this
boys
correctly on as well.
Yeah, had to back the boys.
I think you've completely run away with it this week.
Yeah.
I will reveal the scores after we've revealed this game, but my word, Manchester United have taken a step up.
They've taken a step up. I'll tell you what, this game though, it's not without its controversy, so a lot of people are going to be unhappy with this. Harry Maguire and VAR. Now, if you're not familiar, if you didn't see the game, if you haven't seen it by now, I'm sure you have. Maguire and Batshuayi have a little tussle, goes off the pitch. It's just kind of like a battle of strength. Maguire goes down first. Batshuayi's going into Maguire, and from the angle which it shows on TV, it kind of looks like Maguire kicks out towards him, studs up. Obviously not ideal. It was a real nail biter. I mean, I was thinking at first, I was like, oh no, it's nothing. And then I saw the replay and I was like, oh, hang on a minute, Harry, come on, what's going on here, mate? And he narrowly escapes it somehow, much to the dismay of Frank Lampard at the end of the game.
Not even a booking.
Not even a booking.
That is it. That's the thing. He didn't get a single card for that. And looking back at it, he does have a bit of a jarring kick at him.
He does. Chelsea had 3 VAR decisions against them in that game, and I'm not gonna lie, the Harry Maguire one, that one was the one I can disagree with it. I don't think he should have stayed on the pitch after. I think he should have probably been sent off. Obviously, Harry Maguire went on to score a phenomenal goal in that game. The other 2 decisions against Chelsea were 2 disallowed goals. One, a Kurt Zouma goal, which was disallowed as the result for a Azpilicueta push, which I believe was, again, the push was there. There was arguments whether Azpilicueta was pushed, which prompted him to push Williams over, but it was disallowed. And the second goal, it was offside. It was, again, narrowly. It was literally, I think Frank Lampard used the term at the end of the game, off by a toenail, which I thought was a great little soundbite. But it was off by the skin of his teeth, but he was offside. And if the VAR rules are clear about offside, then that was offside. But then Anthony Martial, bullet header, Maguire, bullet header. A good win for Manchester United, and a game we had to win. A game we were really good in, but a game we could have been better in. So I'm happy with it. VAR was definitely in our favour, but we need to translate it. We need to keep it going.
Yeah, I mean this keeps you in the table running. Solskjaer says he wants to push for top 4. It's not completely out of sight yet. You are currently sitting 3 points behind Chelsea, and that's a great thing to pull Chelsea back and thrust you forward.
Obviously, with Tottenham next week, Chelsea got Tottenham next week, and that's a game that we can really capitalise on because we've got Watford. That's a game we need to be polishing them away at home. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see where it'll go. But we do still have one game to predict. Surprisingly, match day 26 is still not out the way yet. We've still got Man City West Ham. Obviously, it was postponed. The match is 7:30 tonight. It will be for our listeners. So, for that game, Reece, should we just get that prediction out of the way now so we can do our prediction at the end?
I don't see why not. Sure.
I'm still predicting the Man City win. I'm still gonna put 4-0 City. I'm going to put 4-0. I think it's going to be 4-0. I don't see West Ham having any bark.
I'm going to say 3-0.
3-0.
Because, again, I mean, to be fair, we predicted high-scoring goals for a lot of clubs
we have.
this time.
We have.
And it didn't happen, so, I'm going to say 3-0.
Yeah, but there we go. That's the end of the predictions for this very drawn-out matchday 26. You will have the final result tomorrow.
We actually have the scores for the prediction contest after episode 19. Joe is taking a 6-point lead now, 61-55 now.
61-55.
I've had a poor one. So tune in next week to see the competition continue after our match day 27 predictions, and also the added extra point of the Manchester City West Ham game. So hopefully I can pull back. Otherwise, I will probably have to wear a Man United shirt, and that will be going on the Instagram. I don't want that.
What about the hype train race?
Oh, it's time for everyone's favourite segment, and we have a special request from our Instagram post that we put up earlier today, and it is none other than Manchester United's lonely goalkeeper at Sheffield United, Dean Henderson.
Got a lot of time for Dean Henderson. He's someone which we have spoke about several times. He was mentioned a couple of podcasts ago. Actually, was it last week's podcast when we spoke about our
best players?
Best players, yeah.
Best players on each team, and he is by far the best on Sheffield United's team.
I think before we break a little bit down for him, should we just confirm our slot on him now? I mean, it's star player, surely.
Star player of, like, for those that are quite confused on why we're putting him in star player, it's because he is the star player of Sheffield United by a long shot.
Yeah.
Sheffield United are doing brilliant, and it's he is the main reason why they are doing so well.
He just had a great season all round.
Yeah, he's done fantastic. Maybe he'll have a slip up at the end of the season where we'll rejig, but for the time being, Dean Henderson is definitely going into the star player category.
Yeah, I'm confident with that.
For those that don't know the other categories that we could have put him in, it was poor, which currently has just two players, Kurt Zuma and
I mean,
Kolasinac.
It was Kolasinac. Oh, it was Kurt and Kolasinac.
Said Kolasinac. The average category, which features players like Musa Sissoko, Adam Lallana, and Dele Alli. The prospect category, which features players like Rashford, Adama Traore, and Danny Ceballos. Star player, which we now have Dean Henderson in, and world class, which features Andrew Robertson and Heung-min Son.
Well, I'll tell you what, Reece, I do have a late admission into the hype train. I have received, just as we're recording now, a late entry. Thank you very much. I just know what category he's going in as well. Andres Pereira.
Poor.
It's poor. Oh man, Andres Pereira, man. That was a really, really good admission. It looks like we've got another entry for Zuma and
oh my
Zuma
god!
And
yeah, they've got a friend.
They've got a mate. Yeah, Andres Pereira this season for me has been really, really difficult. He's been frustrating to say the least to watch. I was a big supporter of Pereira over the last few seasons. So if he went out on loan a couple of times and trying to prove his place in the United team, he's Belgian born but Brazilian blood, so he chose to represent Brazil. I feel like a lot of the time he's been trying to find that Brazil spot in the team. Maybe, I mean, I think he represented them at youth level, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. He really needs to move on from United, and I think Ollie is playing him quite a lot at the moment out of that's what we've got. You know, but he needs to be moved along. He needs to be moved along now. Yeah, it's getting really difficult.
I think Andreas Pereira is one of those players that was a good signing at the time, and he was just there to fill the numbers.
Well, he's come up through our system.
Yeah,
he's come up through our system. You know, we poached him earlier. I think we poached him from PSV when he was at academy level, and he's come up through the United system, and he's been. You know, there's been moments where he's seemed very good, and he loves playing for the shirt, and he does love playing for the shirt, but it's not. It just isn't working out.
Yeah,
it isn't working out. He's part of like maybe a 5-6 man departure list that I'm kind of accumulating for possibly in the summer.
I think that list is getting longer and longer as the season gets longer and longer for Manchester United. I mean, it can't be as long as Arsenal's list or Chelsea's.
No.
Well, maybe not Chelsea, but
Arsenal.
Definitely Arsenal, or maybe Spurs as well.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of players in that United team that need to be shipped off.
But certainly a good admission for the hype train for this week.
Thank you for your guys' submissions this week. Please we do put a post up every single week on the Tuesday that we do record, so please look out for that on our Instagram at Average Pundits. And if you're looking to get into contact with us on Twitter as well and looking for our social media on there, it's at Pundits Average. And if you want to get in with any business inquiries, please let us know on our email at theaveragepundits@outlook.com. So, as previously mentioned before, we do have a very, very important main topic for us today. It is Manchester City getting banned from the Champions League for 2 years until 2022. Now, they have been banned due to financial fair play that has seen their records to said boards. They're financially wrong. Between 2004, was it 2012 to 2016?
Yeah, well, they were apparently brought up a number of discrepancies. The Manchester City financial fair play, I think this is something which has been coming for a very long time. Long time. I think there are three or four really dodgy clubs in Europe, in my opinion. And I'm not saying like dodgy in terms of anything to do with the football. I just say maybe the running of the clubs. I think Man City, PSG, and then Madrid and Barcelona. I think historically, those teams. Obviously, Juventus have had their own issues as well, but that was more of the tampering for the games, wasn't it? But I mean, if you're talking about like money and stuff like that, I think those four clubs have had really, really strange dealings going on around with money.
I mean, so if we want to talk about UEFA has issued a statement saying that there have been serious breaches of financial fair play regulations. They overstated its sponsorship revenue, and they have the information that they submitted was between 2012 and 2016. The financial fair play, I had to do some research about this. It actually means that the club spending the money on transfers, it has to actually make sense with the club's incomes. So that's ticket revenues, that's merchandise, it's TV sponsorships, it's the competition winning earnings as well. And their spending during that point was over that. They actually had losses on that. So they have been dealt a £30 million fine around about, and also a 2-year ban from the Champions League whilst this is being investigated. I mean, it's a very big blow for Manchester City, especially with a lot of aging players that might want to move out and play Champions League football while they still have time.
It's really... There's a lot of interesting factors to point out in this. I mean, in the summer just gone, Manchester City they spent well over 100 million, and that was just on 2 players alone, with Rodri and Cancelo coming in.
Yeah.
A couple of other additions. There was that Pedro Porro and Angelino, who I don't know what's going on with them two really, but there was that as well. And then there was that Zach Stefan, that random MLS goalkeeper they managed to bring in. They Manchester City spend big in every transfer window. I mean, Pep Guardiola is a manager who I think I've said in the past I do like Pep as a manager. I mean, I feel that there are maybe more naturally manageable, naturally talented managers, but he's someone who can come in, and he does have a good scouting network, and he does know who the right players are to sign. But if you're coming in and people are coming into you and questioning the financial runnings of the club and everything, and it must be scary as a manager, because that could be so much affected for you.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola would not come to Manchester City unless he thought there was a chance of them winning the Champions League. And you look at that squad and you think, my God, this is a Champions League contending squad every time.
Yeah. I mean, the way that this got out was a German magazine called Der Spiegel, which they published the emails. Said that the Etihad were funding only £8 million of sponsorship declared to UEFA as £67.5 million, with the rest being funded by the Sheikh.
It's mental, isn't it? It's absolutely mental.
So this meant that the owner was funding losses rather than sponsor revenues.
Yeah.
So they have obviously now been investigated for that and been slapped with a ban that they've just lied to UEFA.
Yeah. I mean, and how is that going to happen? How are you going to get away with that? You know?
It's like the ramifications of this potentially going forward is going to be horrendous. They can lose managers, players, and Manchester City are saying that their privacy was breached. Like, they've been hacked, and the documents are actually been stolen.
Yeah.
And taken out of context. This is they refuse to comment to various news outlets.
But if you're not going to cooperate on it, and if there are legitimate grievances you have with what's going on, why wouldn't you cooperate?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, outside of football, it's a complete side note, but the same thing is happening with Saracens, the rugby club in the Aviva Premiership.
Yes.
And I mean, they're coming out, and they're obviously they're getting relegated, because of stuff to do with money, and they're not cooperating. So if you're not cooperating, then clearly that shows some level of guilt. I mean, there's got to be stuff there you don't want people to see.
Exactly.
I mean, same thing with Manchester City. I mean, I don't understand. If they had nothing to hide, why don't you give them the full cooperation?
Exactly. Give them the documents. Give them what they want to see. And that's just the truth. UEFA, all they want to see is what's actually happening. And if you can't adhere to financial fair play, then it's you shouldn't be having the amount of money pumped into the club. Like, you shouldn't be spending it on all these players. Like, you were losing money, and it was being funded, not through sponsors, but through your owner.
I mean, Pep's first season at Manchester United, Manchester United, hang on a minute, we'll do that alternate universe there. Pep's first season at Manchester City, he was spending around 192 million on transfers. That was in 2016-17. And then the year on from that, he's spending even more. I mean, that was the year after that was the season where they bring in Laporte and Mendy and Walker and that kind of thing, and he was spending around 285 million. So in his first 2 seasons there, he spent well over, close to 500 million pounds.
It's incredible. It's like how much they. I mean, how about we talk about the ramifications that City might face here?
Yeah.
They are actually appealing in the Court of Arbitration of Sport, the CAS, and they are confident that they're going to prove that the finding is wrong. repeating that they have irrefutable evidence that Mansour was not subsidising the sponsorships. I mean, if this does go through, like, they are banned from the Champions League.
Yeah.
Okay. Kevin De Bruyne wants to leave. He will now. They'll lose players like Benjamin Mendy. They'll lose Laporte to Barcelona or Real Madrid. I think Edison might stay. They'll have a few players that will stay. Aguero will stay.
I don't know. I don't necessarily think we're going to have many people leaving. Do you think De Bruyne is gone?
I think he will, because I think he wants. By the time that they finish the Champions League ban, he'll be 31.
Where would De Bruyne go though?
Somewhere. I mean, he's without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best attacking midfielders in the world.
If not the best. I mean,
I've seen some very, alleged reports. He's been linked with Liverpool. I don't think that they are necessarily true.
No, that's not.
It's quite. I mean, although you do see Liverpool and think, no, never mind. But then again, he might want to. Like, he might force a move. I think they will. I think they might keep Edison, because the market for goalkeepers isn't that great at the minute. They won't pay upwards. I mean, they paid £35 million for Edison, whereas no one's going to pay upwards of that, like, for him.
I mean, Pep and Sterling both came out and publicly said, no matter what happens, we're staying. We want to stay, and this is not a time for leaving and everything. This is time for sticking together, which is, I feel like, is the right atmosphere you want to have around your club around this time.
But do we believe Raheem Sterling? He's left big clubs before to go and win trophies. He's won the Premier League now. Then I think that's unfair. He left Liverpool. I mean, yeah, we were in a dying period.
Yeah, and you can't say it wasn't the right choice.
Not for him personally, but I mean, should he make the right choice now? He could go into that Real Madrid team easily.
I think he could do it, but I think he does legitimately love City. I think since he's been there, I think he's really loved his football.
Wow.
I think he's well on his way to becoming a City icon, if not already.
Maybe.
He's done a lot for the club in terms of what he puts out on the pitch. And
one player that will become a City icon, Phil Foden.
No, he won't. He's not going to become a City icon.
I mean, he won't leave. That's the thing. He wants to play for Manchester City for the rest. I mean, he's a City fan. He's a boyhood City fan.
I reckon they're going to shift him on. I don't
think he wants to.
No, I read a this is genuinely true. This was a tweet from Statman Dave. I don't know if you follow him on Twitter. Absolutely
shout out to Statman Dave.
Yeah, shout out to Statman Dave. Tweeted earlier today, Brandon Williams has played more Premier League minutes this season, so 686 minutes, than Phil Foden has played in his career. 634 minutes for Foden.
I mean,
Brandon Williams, we plucked out of nowhere this season, and he's just kind of rose to the occasion. And he's played more minutes than, obviously, left back at Manchester United compared to central attacking midfield at Man City. It's a bit of a rough one, but I just thought that was kind of a mad stat because everyone knows Phil Foden's a good young player. So I think at this time period, a lot of City players need to, if there is an exodus at City could be relying on these young players. How are you going to be able to attract players to the club without Champions League football?
Exactly. I don't think that. I do think there's going to be an exodus of players. I mean, David Silva. We already know that David Silva's going.
Yeah, but I mean that was already confirmed, wasn't it?
I do think Kevin De Bruyne is going. Ilkay Gundogan's going. I think he's just getting old, anyways. There is going to be a huge opening for a central midfielder in this team, and if Phil Foden gets them minutes, he can relish in this time that he's got as a midfielder. I
mean, they're lucky that I think they haven't been stuck with the transfer ban as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like, they could have been stuck with a transfer. They could have been stuck with so much else. They could have had a £200 million fine as well.
But wasn't the rumours also saying that apparently a City relegation?
I mean,
I've heard again. There was a lot of jokes sliding around of going into League Two. But that was, I mean, this is stuff that's been spoken about. I saw a picture of the new Manchester derby. It would be them versus Salford City.
Imagine that. Oh my goodness. I mean, they'd have the biggest stadium in League Two. Not that they'll be able to get any fans in, because it'll be half empty.
Yeah.
But I think that if they are found guilty, then they will be stuck with a hefty fine. I think they will be stripped of all competitions that have been won in that time period, 2012 to 2016, and given to the runners-up.
I don't think that's going to happen.
It happened to Juventus. That's the thing. It happened to Juventus, and who got the titles after? Was it Inter Milan?
I think it was Milan. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
Which could mean, and you heard it here first, Steven Gerrard could be a Premier League champion, which would, to be honest, would put a serious dampen on this Premier League win. Like, oh yeah, it's the first. Actually, no. Wikipedia says that we won it in 2014. So this means that the Gerrard slip, the Suarez's tears, the slip up at Crystal Palace, it was all irrelevant.
So that'll be 3 Premier League wins they've had that are going to get taken away from them, essentially.
Pretty much.
So pretty much ever since the financial takeover, like, I mean, I just don't see it happening. I do not see it happening personally. It's crazy. It's crazy, but I just don't see it happening.
I mean, they're going to struggle to bring in transfers. We've already said that. Like,
yeah, they're going to struggle.
They will have to do what Chelsea did and rely on the fact that they. I mean, what else do they do? Will they finish below, on purpose to actually get European football, or are they banned from?
It's all European competition.
Is it all Europe? I thought it was just the Champions League.
No, they're not going to let them compete in the Europa League either. It's a European ban. It'll be two years solidly outside of European football.
Wow.
I mean, this appeal's going to go through. This appeal could, they could get a result from it. It could be 1 year. It could be potentially a transfer ban. Things could change in this. I mean, right now we're reporting on what we've got. So it spells an awkward position for Man City. I mean, in terms of the exodus of players, I think they're going to have a surprising loyalty. I think they're probably getting paid through the roof anyway.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Kevin De Bruyne is obviously the top dog. It's just working out where on earth Kevin De Bruyne would go. I mean, to me, it's Barcelona or Madrid.
Yeah.
It's the only 2 clubs. But I mean, are they going to really fork out the money for him, or are Manchester City going to have to sign him at a cut price? I mean,
they might have to because they need the money. Let's be honest. Like, if they need, I mean, they don't need the money. They've got Sheikh Mansour as their manager, but. I mean, financial fair play is a very serious deal, and I mean, Gary Neville's come out and said that Manchester City will probably beat it. To be honest,
yeah.
It doesn't look impossible for Manchester City at the moment, and I think they do stand a chance. Let's be honest, they do stand a little bit of a chance of having their appeal, granted.
This is something which, when obviously we do get the result in, it is obviously going to come up. In terms of the Champions League, that's not really a topic we specialise in. Obviously, we touch on other competitions, but we're a Premier League-based podcast. So the main impact, I think, of this ban, I think if more comes of this and they end up getting out the Premier League relegated, would be absolutely ridiculous. It would be absolutely crazy. It'll be one of the most historic things to happen in the Premier League in history.
I think that the investigation is also being they could face Premier League sanctions as well.
Yeah.
Which means they could actually face being docked points. Not that would matter. However, that would actually grant Liverpool the championship, the Premier League title faster.
Yeah, it would just be an even more of a confirmation, wouldn't it? It's something that we're definitely going to retouch on, I think. But right now, what is going on with Man City is absolutely crazy.
It's bizarre. I mean, we can't really say much on it because there's a lot of allegedlys, there's a lot of ifs and buts and reportedlys, so we can't actually have a say, really. Like, we have our opinions.
Yeah.
There's nothing to factually go
add on right now
because there's no evidence there. We're just going off what the UEFA statements have been saying. So
I think it's all to come out for, and
absolutely.
I mean, if you are a Manchester City fan, you do have an opinion. If you think you know what's going to be happening, please do get in contact with us on the Instagram, on the Twitter, the business email, the Facebook. Or you can message us on our private Twitters rather, or on Instagram. There's so many ways you can get in contact with us, and your opinions are extremely wanted. They're needed, and we want to talk about them. So guys, just get in contact with us.
Thank you. And shall we get on to today's predictions?
Yeah, let's do it, mate.
I guess it's match day 27.
Yeah.
Starting with the midday Saturday kickoff. Chelsea versus Tottenham Hotspur.
This game's going to be interesting. Do you know now that Heung-min Son's picked up an injury? He's got
He's got a broken arm.
So where are their goals going to come from? I mean, they're going to rely on Stevie B and Lucas, aren't they?
Yeah.
Or it's Troy Parrott FC season. So, with Tottenham's lack of striker signing in the summer, again, now it's coming back to haunt them even more. Why on earth they didn't sign a striker, I don't know. Chelsea-Tottenham, what do you think, Reece?
I'm going to go for 1-0 to Chelsea.
I'm going to go for a 0-0 draw.
Really? You don't think any...
I think Chelsea are going to be rattled after this United win, because obviously Batshuayi against United was terrible. Giroud scored, but it was a disallowed goal. But I mean, if anyone's going to make the difference, it will be Giroud.
Yeah.
But obviously with Tammy still out injured and Kane's son injured, I don't know where the goal's coming from, so I'm going to say 0-0.
Okay.
What about Crystal Palace Newcastle, same day?
Crystal Palace and Newcastle. They're both coming off relatively decent. Not decent. I mean, they're coming off decent form. However, Newcastle slipping up was quite a big one.
Yeah, I'm going to put 2-1 Palace on this. Actually, no, scratch that. 2-0. It's going to be 2-0. Newcastle not even going to score.
Really?
Not going to score, mate. They were that poor against Arsenal.
I think the Palace aren't quite the Arsenal. I'm going to put down it's going to be a 1-1 draw.
1-1?
Yeah. So we'll go to Burnley versus Bournemouth next.
That's going to be a good game. That's going to be a bit of a tough one. But at Burnley, I think Burnley have got it. I'm going to put 2-0 Burnley.
2-0. I'm going to put down 2-1 to Bournemouth.
2-1 to Bournemouth?
I think that... Not 2-1 to Bournemouth, sorry. 2-1 to Burnley.
2-1 to Burnley?
2-1 to Burnley.
Okay. But you think Bournemouth got a bit of a bite in them?
Yeah, I think maybe Ryan Fraser or Harry Wilson to score.
So the Sheffield game will be a bit more interesting. Sheffield-Brighton.
Sheffield United.
Are they going to keep this form up?
Are
they having this wonder season? Is it still going to go?
It's only Brighton at the end of the day, let's be honest.
Yeah,
Brighton are going down, IMO. I think Sheffield United have this in the bag. Go 100%. Like, you can't put it past them at the minute. Like, they're doing fantastic.
With the manager and the form they're in, it's 1-0 to me, but it's a win for Sheffield.
I'm going for 2-0 to Sheffield United. I think that Mousse and McGoldrick are playing out of their skin at the minute. They're definitely not conceding goals.
Yeah.
They are playing really well.
Southampton, Aston Villa. This could be, mark my words, one of the games of the weekend.
Really?
Because Southampton right now in their frustration of form, the 1 minute they're banging in, the next minute they're having narrow losses.
Yeah.
And Aston Villa need to start winning. They were very unfortunate not to get something off Tottenham.
That's true, actually.
So I think Aston, and this is away, so it's going to be hard again. But I think Aston Villa are going to be playing to win.
Yeah.
I'm going to put some faith in them, and I'm going to say 1-0 to Aston Villa.
Okay, I've got this game down for some goals. I'm going for our first predict. Actually, no, I predicted the Palace Newcastle draw. But I'm going to go for my second draw here and go 2-2.
2-2. That seems like something which could happen. I mean, am I sticking with 1-0?
Danny Ings double.
Am I sticking with 1-0? No, 2. I'm changing it. I'm reverbing it whilst we're still on it. It's 2-1. 2-1 Villa.
Oh, okay. Switching it up.
I do think
Heavily influenced.
It's really stiff to not say Danny Ings is going to score.
I mean, he is in the form of his life right now.
He is. What about Leicester City, Man City? Another possible contender of the weekend.
I think Manchester City are going to win this. Maybe not by much, but I do think they're going to scrape a win against Leicester.
It is away. It is at Leicester, this game. I
don't think they're going to scrape a win. I don't.
If Leicester win this, they go ahead of City.
I think it's going to be a draw. 1-1.
1-1. 2-1 Man City.
Ooh.
2-1 Man City. I was leaning toward the Leicester win then, but I was like, nah, I'm going against my.
I have to go for different than you this time because I need points. Going on to Sunday's games.
Yeah, Wolves Norwich, isn't it?
Wolves versus Norwich. I mean, Adama Traore is back to full health. Their front three can be very attacking minded again.
They need a win as well off the back of that draw last from this week's game. So I'm gonna put 2-0 Wolves.
I don't put it past Norwich to score, so I'm gonna put 3-1 to Wolves. What was yours again?
I'm gonna say 2-0, mate. 2-0 Wolves, I believe.
2-0.
Man United Watford. This is again a game. We've got to keep up this form, man. We can't beat Chelsea and then bottle it to Watford. We can't do that. It's not in our system.
It's a Man United thing to do, though. That's the thing. It's such a Man United thing to do.
It is, but I mean, with the form from that Chelsea game, I've got to back the boys once again. It's going to be 2-0 again. Another 2-0 win for United. It's going to be.
Okay, I'm going to say exactly the same.
It's going to be, mate. We've got to keep the form.
And then the second to the penultimate game of the weekend, it's Arsenal against Everton.
Yeah. This will be a good game. Again, both coming off of wins from their last Premier League game. It's tough.
It is very tough. However, I do think Arsenal will have it in them to beat Everton 2-0.
1-0.
Ooh, spicy prediction there.
I think Everton are gonna give them a bit of a run. The Mikel Arteta derby.
Honestly.
The Mikel derby. Now, I think it's gonna be 1-0, mate.
And finalement, as they say in France, probably. I don't know.
Liverpool, West Ham, mate.
Liverpool, West Ham.
They're not
indeed.
I feel reluctant to predict them as high again after that embarrassing 1-0 scrape. So 2-0 Liverpool.
I'm going 3-0.
3-0.
Because West Ham are going to get battered by City.
Yep.
Their morale's going to be down unless they beat City, and then we are screwed for these predictions. So there are your 10 games plus an extra one for match day 27 and the last game of match day 26. Thank you ever so much for listening to this podcast today about Manchester City's financial fair play. Banned from the Champions League as well. So if you have enjoyed, please leave a comment and subscribe, because we're looking to build the channel, and give it a like, share it with anybody that you can possibly, please. It does help us a lot. Follow us on our Instagram at Average Pundits, and our Twitter at the Pundits Average, and our business email for any inquiries to come on the show and talk about football and Premier League loving. Please go to our email, theaveragepundits@outlook.com. But for now, I've been Reese, and I've been joined by my fantastic Average Pundit partner in crime, Joe.
Thank you very much, mate.
And we shall speak to you when we get to our episode 20. So, but for now, goodbye.